Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of News Dose, where I give you all of the latest gaming news, and I hope you had a good weekend. It was a rather busy weekend in terms of gaming news, and we do have a lot to go over today. We got some Xbox stuff to talk about that includes an almost ludicrous low price for the Xbox Series X predicted by an industry analyst, and we will discuss that and whether or not it's actually realistic, so stay tuned for that. We also have a few Nintendo topics to talk about today, and also some good PlayStation news, and we even have some big third-party content to talk about as well. So let's get right into all of the news, and we have an update on Inside Xbox from last week. We did talk about everything that happened during Inside Xbox already on the last episode of News Dose, though that event was kind of strange in how they didn't really give players all the details at the actual event. A lot of this stuff started to come out afterwards, and apparently quite a few games on Inside Xbox was actually console exclusive titles for Xbox. I don't know why they didn't really say this during the event, but yeah, so apparently Second Extinction, Call of the Sea, The Ascent, Bright Memory Infinite, Scorn, and The Medium are all Xbox exclusives. Some of these games look really good too. I think Scorn in specific is the one I'm most excited about personally, and it's like some Metroidvania horror-esque game, and when I see the gameplay of it, it looks really good. It obviously has taken some kind of inspiration from the Alien franchise, and I definitely want to try this one out. The fact it's also going to be coming to Xbox Game Pass has me thrilled. This is the very reason I love Xbox Game Pass just so much, and also it has been confirmed that Bright Memory Infinite was a gameplay reveal. That was not CGI, and it was actual gameplay. I guess some people were questioning that because of how good it actually looked, but there it is. That was actual gameplay, and it does look phenomenal. I'm still shocked that game was only made by one person. I tell you what though, it really gets me excited to see some of these big AAA games running on the Series X. I think some of them are going to blow us away, especially with the ray tracing. And speaking of Inside Xbox, Ubisoft has announced their E3 replacement, Ubisoft For Word. This will be taking place on July 12th, so we are still 2 months away, but this will very possibly be the place we finally get to see some actual gameplay of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I know a lot of us thought we were going to get that big reveal during Inside Xbox last week, but it just didn't end up happening. Hopefully the wait is well worth it, and I'm sure Ubisoft will have plenty of other things to show us as well. We know that they're working on Rainbow Six Quarantine as well as Watch Dogs Legion. I have a feeling that we are going to see both of those games there, and maybe we get a surprise or two. If I'm remembering correctly here, there was a rumor of Ubisoft working with Nintendo again on something, though who knows if that actually happens or not, but that would be really cool if they do. Mario plus Rabbids was a great game, and I would like to see them continue that relationship. Moving on though, Sega is really hyping up a big-time Sonic announcement for the 30th anniversary next year. Sega is already teasing something very exciting regarding the blue dude with the tood, and now the question is, what could it possibly be? During the 20th anniversary, Sega released Sonic Generations, which is arguably one of the best Sonic games made to date, where it mixes both a 2D Sonic game with 3D Sonic. So it really was the best of both worlds, and I do think that was the best way to celebrate the 20th anniversary. So I do wonder if they may try to do that again and make a Sonic Generations 2. I know a lot of people would like to see a Sonic Mania 2 as well, and that would be really cool. I think Sonic Mania was a very, very good Sonic game. Even Sonic Adventures 3 would be very exciting, though I do question if Sega can actually make another really good 3D Sonic game. It's been a long time since the 3D Sonic games have been high quality, though I know some people still do like those games as well. Regardless though, we should expect to hear some big Sonic news for the 30th anniversary in 2021. Let me know though, what would you like to see Sega do here? And now moving on to some of the Nintendo news, and we have 3 quick topics here. The first of which is not the best news in the world, nor is it the worst news either, But yes, the free-to-play game Ninjala has been officially delayed from May 28th to June 25th. Of course, this is becoming a bit of a trend in 2020 with everything that's happening in the world right now, so not completely unexpected, but it's only been delayed by just a month and not even that really, so it's not a major deal here. I think Ninjala looks really good though and has a lot of potential to be a breakout hit for the Nintendo Switch. Splatoon 2 sold over 10 million copies worldwide, and I think a lot of the fans that played Splatoon 2 are going to want to go check out Ninjala, so for me, quality is the most important thing here. I don't mind this delay, but it's just a month, so we'll have to wait and see then if Ninjala turns out to be as great as I think it possibly could be. Now also, Ninjala is an online game, and Nintendo has let their fans know that they are going to work on bringing more features and mechanics to Nintendo Online to make games more enjoyable. That is great news considering how bare bones Nintendo Online is. Even simple things like a chat system is not implemented near as well as the competition. The thing is, Nintendo can get away with that type of stuff because of how cheap their service is. You know, it's only like $20 for a year or something like that, and then you know the competition is $60. So there is a big price gap there, so that really benefits Nintendo here. Now with that said, if Nintendo is going to add in anything, the one feature I have wanted them to add for years and probably a decade by this point is some kind of an achievement system. I don't think achievements and trophies are necessarily the be-all end-all feature, but it is a nice addition to games where you can try to achieve more goals in games. It also allows me to go back and look at some of the games that I've enjoyed over the years and see how much of an effort I put into completing everything in a specific game. I would love to see Nintendo do something like that, but as we all know, they're kind of weird when it comes to this type of stuff. I don't understand why, I really don't, but Nintendo is insanely successful with the Switch, so you can't really argue with the numbers. And yeah, speaking of Nintendo's decisions, we did talk about this last week, and that there was a Mario 64 port available on PC. What made this port so special though, was that you did not need an emulator to play Mario 64 on your PC. It had 4K capability with controller support, and it was done very well. As soon as this went up online and made waves throughout the media, I knew right away that Nintendo was going to take this project down eventually. Well, that is exactly what happened. Nintendo shut this thing down, and I know fans probably hate to hear that. Nintendo just does not like this type of stuff happening. They do target ROM websites as well, so this shouldn't really be too surprising. I always hope that Nintendo will eventually release this type of stuff on PC themselves, and they could make some extra money that way, but knowing Nintendo, that's not likely to happen anytime soon. With that said though, there has been plenty of reports come out by credible sources that Nintendo is working on some 3D Mario ports for the Switch, so we very likely could get an official announcement for Mario 64 on the Switch sometime this year. Let's hope that's the case. Moving on though, and this is the news that really shocked me the most this weekend, and it has created a ton of discussion on what the price will be for the Xbox Series X. So here's the deal. Michael Pachter, an industry analyst, was on Jeff Keighley's podcast with the former Xbox head Peter Moore, and made an outlandish prediction on what the price for the Xbox Series X could possibly be, and he suggested he believes it will be lower than what people are expecting. Now, I don't know about you, but I have said over and over again on this channel I am fully expecting a $500 price tag, and I would not be shocked if the price was north of that. The Series X is an absolute beast, so I am expecting a premium price tag. But here's what Michael Pachter had to say. From what I've seen, Sony will have to charge $500 for the PlayStation 5, but Microsoft has a big balance sheet. If they want to cut the price by $100 and price below and subsidize the first 10 million units, they will. I think Microsoft is waiting to have Sony blink first, and then they'll reveal the price and the launch date. Very likely sometime in November, very likely $400, and fans are going to get a lot for their $400. So there it is. Michael Pachter believes the Xbox Series X will be $400, which would be insane. And if that were to happen, Xbox may actually have a chance at outselling the PlayStation 5 in certain regions, especially the United States. Now, I wouldn't expect worldwide or anything because Europe and Japan love the PlayStation brand, but the Xbox 360 pretty much dominated in the United States and in the UK, and those two countries alone made the PlayStation 3 and 360 sell very similar lifetime. The PlayStation 3 barely passed the 360 at the end in total units sold, but both sold very similar to one another lifetime. Though this whole prediction by Pachter is still very outlandish. He believes the PlayStation 5 will be $500, which is a weaker console than the Xbox Series X, and he believes the Series X will be $400, which is the exact opposite of what happened with the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. Remember, the PlayStation 4 was more powerful than the Xbox One, and it was also cheaper, though that was because Kinect drove up the price for the Xbox One. That's not happening this time though. Both are focused specifically on just the hardware for the console itself. So do I actually think the Xbox Series X will be $400? No, I would not place any bets on that. I'm still saying that it will be $500, and I will be shocked if it comes in at $400. Now, with that said, I do agree with certain things Pachter says. I do think that the PlayStation 5 will be $500 as well. I've said this in the past. That's based off what we know, and what we know is that Sony has struggled with the price for the PlayStation 5. Things like the cooling system has jacked up the price for the PlayStation 5, and it sits at $450 to make. That means the parts alone are $450 and does not include manufacturing. So we likely will see the PlayStation 5 be $500 at retail if they want to profit immediately. The thing about PlayStation is that they need the PlayStation 5 to profit. Sony is a smaller company than Microsoft, and Sony relies on the PlayStation brand a lot more than Microsoft relies on Xbox. So I do think Xbox would be more willing to take a loss on the Series X in order to gain a competitive advantage. For them, they could sell the Series X at a loss and just focus on increasing the subscriptions like Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which will be their long-term moneymaker. Xbox, I think, would be very willing to sacrifice short-term profits gained from Xbox in order to have better long-term success. Though I think $500 is still probably going to be a loss per unit for the Series X, so placing it at $400 would be a huge loss per unit. I don't know that for a fact or anything, but based off the specs for the Series X, I would think it would cost more than $500 to make one of those consoles. Remember that the Xbox Series X is more powerful than the PlayStation 5, so I can't imagine it being cheaper to make. We also have to remember that Lockhart may still be in Microsoft's plans, a more affordable next-generation Xbox, and if that thing does actually end up getting released as well, it really makes no sense for the Series X to also be cheaper than the PlayStation 5. Of course, Lockhart may never actually end up happening, but if it does, that was made to be the price advantage for Xbox, and Series X was supposed to be the power advantage, the best of both worlds. So yeah, don't get your hopes up too much on a $400 price tag. It may end up happening, and if it does, that will be great. But don't be disappointed if it's priced at $500, and that is what I'm expecting. I do think the Series X will be $500. I also think the PlayStation 5 will be set at $500. So that's just my opinion, but that's what I think. On to our last topic though, and I will make this one real brief as this video is getting pretty long by this point, but over the weekend, PlayStation did announce the PlayStation Now lineup for the month of May. We got some pretty good titles here too. We have The Evil Within 2, Get Even, and the big one here, Rainbow Six Siege. As always though, you have to read the fine print when it comes to PlayStation Now titles, and Rainbow Six Siege will be available on the service for just 6 months. That's still a step up for PlayStation Now though compared to the previous 3-month titles they were doing, but I would still like to see them push for a full year on these titles. Either way though, this is a pretty solid month for PlayStation Now. Siege is fantastic, and The Evil Within 2 is a really good game for you horror fans out there. Anyways though, That's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to hit the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Peace out.